Afternoon, everyone. I'm Kelly Bergman. I'm the Operations and Vendor Relations Specialist here, and I have the pleasure of welcoming all of you to the Vrockusblum Computer Consulting's annual user conference this year. This actually marks our 15th year of hosting these, and we couldn't be more excited as we continue to be able to present these to you. This session is kind of special. We have Dana Halpin, a senior consultant here with BBCC, and she's going to be presenting Sage Intelligence versus Sage Data and Analytics today. She's kind of our resident expert on both topics, and whenever anybody on the team needs help with either of these, she's always our first go-to. So before we begin, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. This session is being recorded. Everybody is on mute. If you have questions during the session, there's a Q&A button or a chat button. We'll be monitoring both, so whichever is your favorite. CPE credit is being offered. You'll get a survey on Friday. Fill that out and check the box that you need that credit, and we'll be sure to get you a certificate within the next few weeks. And with that, Dana, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelly. So out of 15 years, this is my 5th session with the user conference talking about Sage Intelligence and other Sage BI type tools. So that's pretty exciting. So I'm happy to present it to you today, 2021, and we are going to show you lots of fun stuff. I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to get started. So as Kelly mentioned, we are going to be talking about Sage Intelligence versus Sage Data and Analytics. Now, a lot of you are familiar with Sage Intelligence already, but may not have had any experience with Sage Data and Analytics. And today will be a perfect topic for you to learn more about it and to certainly see if it's the right fit for your business. So what are we going to do today? Today, we're going to talk about Sage Intelligence product recap. Like I mentioned before, this is my 5th year doing this. So we do have our user conference webinars on our website, and you're more than welcome to go out there to look at past years. Last year in particular, I think it was a really good recap on Sage Intelligence because I had it titled, "What's it all about?" And I went through so much about the product, what you can do, and it was just fully dedicated to Sage Intelligence. But today we're just going to do a quick recap and leave some room at the end to talk about Sage Data and Analytics. Over the past year, 2021, there seems to be reoccurring trends that I'm seeing with Sage Intelligence requests. People have asked about certain things repetitively, and I've bookmarked them to show you today what those trends are, and perhaps they may be of use to you in your business. We're going to demo those trends. We're going to show you exactly how to do them. We're going to give you some resources on how to do them on your own, but please know you can always reach out to me to get it started and we can work on it together. First time with a user conference, we're going to show you a product called Sage Data and Analytics. Amazing product for reporting for Sage 100. It's completely web-based on the cloud. And it's just been a pleasure to learn this product because I have learned over the years so many pains with different reporting tools. And this one seems to tackle them in such a proficient and intelligent way. And then I'm going to show you Sage Data and Analytics in a product presentation. And then we're going to talk about the differences between the two, Sage Intelligence versus SDNA, which one is right for you. We hope to help you decide if you're in the market for one of these products, which one is right for you. And then lastly, we will take any questions that you may have. So what is Sage Intelligence? A lot of people think, oh, I don't want to introduce another product. I have so many softwares on my server. I don't want to introduce another one, but you don't have to worry. Sage Intelligence is automatically installed with Sage 100, and it's a Sage 100 module on your module listing. It's an Excel-based reporting tool, which means it dumps the data into Excel every time you run a report. It comes with ready-to-use reports and layouts, which you certainly can customize and modify for your own. It has the ability to design and edit financial reports. The canned financial reports that come with Sage 100 are great. However, if you have a chart of accounts that isn't the most organized or the most easy to use and decipher, and perhaps you have plenty of departments and locations that you need to report on, Sage Intelligence will help you customize those financials in a way that will be present the report in a way to share out to your shareholders and your users. The canned reports in Sage 100, like I said, are great, but they really don't allow that flexibility to report on different reporting trees and departments and locations. So it's really a great tool if you have a chart of accounts that's complex and you need to create financials from them. Not only can you create financials with Sage Intelligence, but you can create reports from all the modules in Sage 100. And you do have the ability to link other sources into Sage Intelligence as well. We have the ability with Sage Intelligence to do auto distribution, and I'm actually going to get more into that a little bit later. Now, you may be saying to yourself, okay, this is a new product. I don't have the time to learn. I don't have the ability to introduce something new. And the reason why I'm pulling this up is because your learning curve is going way down with this product. And that is because you already have the tools, probably about 90% of the tools and the know-how to run this product for your business. And the reason is because it's primarily Excel based. If you know how to do certain things in Excel, data dumps, VLOOKUPs, if statements, sorting, charts, filtering, pivot tables, custom formulas, then you will be more than halfway there to learn this product. Sage Intelligence dumps the Sage 100 data into Excel. Then it's up to you from there. You take over. You use all of your tools, VLOOKUPs, charts, all this stuff you already know. I'm sure you're using a lot of these on a daily basis. And what's nice is that these formulas will be linked back to Sage Intelligence. So every time you run the report, the formulas just run themselves. Sage Intelligence is out of the box ready, meaning under your modules list, you have the Sage Intelligence reporting module. It comes already installed with your system. Within that module, you can have a report viewer, a report manager, and the difference between those is just design. If you want to be able to design reports, then you're a manager. If you just want to view reports, then you're a viewer. And then it has what we call the connector module, which allows you to connect to other modules besides the GL. When you go into Sage Intelligence for the first time without creating any custom reports, these are the canned reports that they give you. They give you a dashboard report, some financials, inventory purchases and sales type dashboards. These reports can be copied and customized to your business, to your liking. So when we go into my Sage Intelligence in a little bit, you'll see I have a ton more folders in this. That's because I have customized so many of these reports and created my own. This is what I'm showing you here is this is what comes with the system before you even start using it. So you're able to create and customize financials right out of the box. Sage gives you what we call a free report manager license with your Sage 100 purchase. This is huge. This report manager license allows you to customize financials and run certain canned reports and customize them right out of the box. Like I said, you can edit those canned reports. For expanded design features and company consolidations, you do need to purchase the connector module, which is under the setup menu over on the module listing. And I'm going to talk about prices and things like that a little bit later. The licensing is based on workstation, not users. So if I am a Sage Intelligence user and I leave the company tomorrow, somebody else gets my laptop, they come in, the license will be still there for the laptop. It's not there for me. It's not for the user. It's based on the workstation, not the user. And then here's just some tidbits. There are a bunch, and I mean a bunch, of free reports Sage has ready to download. And I gave you the website here. And then learning. There's so much you can teach yourself on sageintelligence.com. They have a YouTube channel, and it basically walks you through everything. What I've done for Rollup Computer Consulting is a hybrid of, hey, you want to create this report? Let's do it together. We create a report. I use it as a training session so everybody learns, how it's created from beginning to end. We record the session. I put it on their server so they can look at it next time they need to create a report. So you can try to train yourself. You can give us a call and we can do something similar to that. So for this past year, I kept an archive of what the most popular requests were. First one, trends, rolling reports, rolling trend reports. This has been a huge request lately. I don't know what's in the water, but everybody wants a trend report, and Sage Intelligence does an awesome job at easily creating a rolling trend type of report. Next one, Rollup Codes. In Sage 100, if you haven't visited a Rollup Code, if you haven't visited what Rollup Codes are and how they can help a business and organize their general ledger accounts, it might be time to do so. I have had a lot of Sage Intelligence requests that the Rollup Code just solved the whole issue. For example, in this particular instance, this was a financial report that the parent company wanted, and none of the Sage 100 account numbers were numbered the same as the parent company numbers. So what we did is we created a Rollup Code for the parent company code linked to the Sage 100 number. Then in Sage Intelligence, we created the financials for the parent company. And unbeknownst to them, they didn't know what was going on in the background. And the user, minutes to create that. And what they were doing before was they were taking a data dump of the chart of accounts and keying in every single parent company code and linked to the account number. Bottom line is it was taking forever. So it's a nice time saver. And if you haven't visited what the Rollup Codes can do, it might be a good time to do so, but we will go into that a little bit later. Thirdly, another trend, dashboards. People love dashboards lately. They love the top 5, the top 10. They love looking at charts and data comparisons this year, last year, certain product lines, certain customer types. The list goes on and on and on. So I've had quite an extensive list of requests for dashboards. Then lastly, publishing and distributing. There are ways in Sage Intelligence to automatically send emails on a Sage Intelligence report, automatically save the report to a location on your server or your local drive. And this will be demonstrated shortly, but it's very easy to use. Some people use Sage Intelligence and don't even know this feature is there. So we're going to show you where it is and how to use it. So now I want to demonstrate these trends, but before I do that, there was a notice that came out that caused a little confusion, and I just want to address what it was. The notice was that the Sage Intelligence is being retired for Sage 50. So we received a lot of requests of people saying, hey, does this mean for Sage 100? And the answer is no. Sage 100, Sage Intelligence is not retiring. It's only being retired for Sage 50. So if you did get this message over email or you saw it online, fear not, the Sage 100 for Sage Intelligence is still actively being used and able to be purchased and maintained. All right, so now let's go into what's trending. Just going to pull up my Sage 100 install here. So we were talking about trend reports, right? Before I get into that, let's just look at this. So as we saw in the PowerPoint, here's my modules list. Here's my Sage Intelligence. I have reports and I have setup. Viewer, manager, connector, that's to connect to other modules. License manager, that's how we license the product. And security manager, if you wanted to limit access on certain reports, you can do that. So when I go into report manager, there's a green R icon on my taskbar, and it pulls up Sage Intelligence Report Manager. So I have all these folders in here because I do a lot of customizations, but let me pull up the 2021 user conference folder here. I have what we call a trend report. Now, let's just talk a little bit about reports and what they look, what these icons mean and everything like that. And then I'll get specifically into the trend report. Reports are either a union report, which is designated in green. The green icons are a union report, or a single report, which is designated in the blue. So my trend report here is what we call a union report. And if I go over here to union report here, all that means is it's a bunch of different Sage Intelligence reports combined into one. So when I run this trend report out, it's going to put my Sage 100 accounts on my Excel output sheet 1, the types on 2, main accounts on 3, actuals on 4, balances on 5, budgets on 6, fiscal year detail on 7, settings on 8, and roll-ups on 9. So you can see that a union report is many reports combined into one. So each of these reports are separate reports in Sage Intelligence. And all we're doing is we're saying we want all of these combined to dump data into Excel. By doing that, we have, let me pull up my trend here. The trend report is run out, but if I unhide tabs, you'll see here's all those tabs. So accounts, account types, main accounts, actuals, balances, and so on and so forth. So what we can do is we can pull information from these tabs in our financial reports. We can use perhaps the fiscal year detail tab to use to change our dynamic titles. Every time I change a month, I want the title to change. I could do a VLOOKUP and point it to the fiscal year detail tab. I can look for certain budgets, Rollup Codes, which I'll show you in a little bit. And we have them all hidden, but that doesn't mean that the data is not there. You can always unhide them. So I was talking about a trend report, and here's one that I've done. It's a 12-month rolling income statement. And if you know anything about Sage Intelligence, you know that the data is dumped into those hidden tabs. Then we come over here and we do a formula based on that data. So if I come in and look at the formula, it'll point to the account number. It'll point to the period and year, which is over here. In this case, I have parameters. My data is in 2025. Here's period 2. If I change to period 3, you see my title changes, all these title change. And then this is the cool part, is a rolling 12 months. So no matter what month I put in here, it's just going to back up 12 months and give me the data for this particular income statement for the past 12 months. I don't really have data for November, but let's just go back to like May, and it's over the course of 2 years. And these are all just Excel formulas. So all I'm doing is putting if statements in here saying, you know, if this period is this, then put this period in, and so on and so forth. So very easy to do, and can be really slick. You can add a logo in here. You saw that my titles change every time I change the period. When I talk about the learning curve, these are all Sage Intelligence formulas, but you know, these are just Excel formulas, totaling everything up. As far as the way it looks, the formatting is all in Excel. It has nothing to do with Sage Intelligence. What you'll see in Sage Intelligence is this task pane on the right, which when you run out a report, the task pane will open up in Excel automatically. And it gives you the ability to pull in certain formulas, certain trees, layouts, and lists. This is always a way to know that your Sage Intelligence install is installed properly. We do get many times people call and say, hey, I've run out of report and the task pane is not there. So we may have to go into Excel options and do a couple tweaks to get it to be in there. So what I want to say is the purpose of the trend report is to be able to present the last 12 months without much work. So I put in the work in the front end. So all I have to do every month is come out, run the report, change the current period, change the year, and bam, there's my information. So very easy to set up, very easy to use. Seems to be a trend this year to have the trend. It seems to be a trend this year to have trend reports. I know it sounds a little repetitive, but that is the case. So let's go in and look at Rollup Codes. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat about some licensing, but we will answer those questions later. So when we go into Sage 100, we go into General Ledger, either account maintenance or account inquiry will do. And let's just pull up an account. So what are Rollup Codes? Rollup Codes are a way to organize your general ledger accounts in a particular way for certain reasons. Here's an example I think I gave you during the PowerPoint where my parent company cash is this account number. My Sage 100 cash is 100-00-00. I need to create a financial statement for my parent company, but they want it in a specific way, laid out in a specific way. So I'm going to pull this in Sage Intelligence to do so. Here's another example. A lot of times we have new implementations. They're coming from another ERP product. In this case, it's Sage 50. And they totally revamped their chart of accounts. So you could see the segments are different. I only have 2 segments here. I have 3 segments in Sage 100. When they run reports or they're looking up accounts, sometimes they forget what the new account number is, and they just wanted a way to reference the old Sage 50 account. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to be here forever. It could be a temporary thing, when they go live and they just want it there for ease of use and remembrance. But for sure, you can use this in these types of ways. How do you set this up? You have actually 4 Rollup Codes that you can use, and it's under your general ledger options. And this is where you set it up. So I have 2 being used right now, but I certainly can set up 3 more. So in my report manager here, let me just run out my trial balance, because this is a way for you to see how I can use Rollup Codes in a Sage Intelligence report efficiently. When you run out a report, you're going to get the status on the right of what stage it's in. On the bottom, it's going to tell you how long it's been running. And if for some reason I had some technical difficulties, I can right click on it and hit cancel. But when it's finished, it runs into Excel. And it's going to name the ranges. It's going to put those hidden sheets in there. It's going to do all that good stuff that we talked about earlier. And when it's done, I can go into Excel and pull up the trial balance. So here's an example. For this particular company, I gave them a Sage 50 column with their Sage 50 number. And this is a trial balance with the Sage 100 numbers, but they wanted to see the reference to their old ERP. This was particularly helpful because they wanted us to import journal entries for the past 3 years, and we had to make sure we balanced. So we gave them this checkpoint to look at the numbers and do data validation. So just a great example of how you can use Rollup Codes. So what is this? It's a VLOOKUP. Where is it looking? It's looking on the Accounts tab. The Accounts tab is hidden. So I'm going to unhide Accounts. Here's the Accounts tab, Account Group, Category, Description. Here's my Rollup Code. Here's my Rollup Code number 2. This is my Sage 51. So it's just a VLOOKUP saying, hey, you know, if this account is cash, pull in the Sage 50 Rollup 2 code here. So really nice way to use the Rollup Codes. Not to mention, if you do have Rollup Codes turned on, anytime you print a report in Sage 100, those Rollup Codes show down here in the parameters. I'm not sure if many people know that, but here they are. If I needed to filter or run this report for a specific Sage 50 account that I do not remember the Sage 100 account, I certainly can do that, and it'll pull in the correct information. So, little tip there. All right, now let's talk dashboards. I have a dashboard example on here. And what it is, it's a union report combining many different reports and many different sub-reports. You'll see, I have the wrong one pulled up here. Hang on a second. There we go. So it's the first one. So it's green, it's a union report. And what I'd like it to do is put my top 10 customers on sheet 1, top 10 products on sheet 4, some aging information on 5 and 6, count on my sales orders on sheet 7, a little recap of some GL balances on 8, and then some item information on 10. So that's a lot of information. That's a lot of modules that I'm pulling from. And I did this by using what we call the connector module, which is a separate purchase. And, you know, we'll go into how much that is later. But what a great thing. I'm connecting to all these different modules. I'm dumping the data in here into one Excel report, and then I'm going to create some dashboards. So the top 10 customers, for example, here it is right here. It's a single report. I'm pulling it from the AR module, obviously. I'm pulling in these columns. I could have filters, because if you think about it, you need a filter on this. Not so much in my scenario, but in yours, you probably have many, many years of history on here. So you want to like cap it at maybe the prior year to the current year. So this is the past couple of years. Otherwise, it will take a long, long time to run. Filters are great. I don't want certain customer types on here. And I could specify that. I can do parameters, I can sort it a different way, and I can use aggregate filters. But these reports are single reports that I created. Here's the general ledger one. I need certain accounts. I want the debit, the credit, all this good stuff. On my filters, I'm doing years 2024 and 2025. I'm filtering my GL account numbers because my chart's pretty big. I don't want all those account numbers being dumped into my report. Look, when I create the dashboard in Excel, it's going to use a lot of resources to do that. You need to think about when you create these reports, how you can limit the data being dumped into Excel. It's going to make those reports run faster. So I am eliminating those GL account numbers by what they begin with, etc. Top 10 products. There's certain product lines I don't want to include. I only want to include item type ones. I don't want miscellaneous items. So these are all the cool things that you can do. So when I created this sample dashboard report, I had to create all these reports first. You have to map it out. You have to think, okay, what's my goal? What kind of metrics do I want to use on the dashboards? You map it out, you get the data. What columns do you need? How am I going to filter it? And then you join them all together into this dashboard union report. And I do want to point out, when you do something like this, you never put anything on output sheet 2, because output sheet 2 has the parameters on it for the report. So it's just a tip. When you run out the dashboard report, I think I already have it run out here. Look at this. So cool, right? I have my top 5 customers, customer types, my sales. Then I have all these customer types indicated in different colors. All the top 10s for Sage Data and Analytics, top 10s for Operations Management, Sage Intelligence. Then I just jump down here. All the customer types. I'm doing January through October. Notice it picks up the month that I'm in. And then similarly to last year, then I'm charting it. Product lines. How cool is this? So easy. Why is it easy? Because I did all the work already. All these sheets have the data dumps in them, and I'm just pulling the information from those different sheets. And I'm creating pivot tables and pivot charts. Going down further. Top 20 items sold. Here's a table. Here's the chart. Little recap on aging for AR, AP. Who are the late payers? Are over here in purple. I have revenue recap. Today versus today last year. What's the change? Another chart. How am I doing this year versus last year? Chart versus table. Similarly, a count of the sales orders received. It's a line graph and then the chart or the table over here. So needless to say, a lot of information, but what a great result. How impressive to send this to your users, your group, your board of directors, your president, your CFO. It's just going to be a game changer, really, if you like to use this kind of stuff. And if you're savvy at Excel and you like to use formulas and pivot tables and all this stuff. These sheets are all the data dumps. I'm just pulling from them. I have pivot tables on sheet 9. Then I'm pulling those pivot tables over into the dashboard table, either as a table itself or a chart. So great tool to be able to use this. We're using all modules. We have to have the connector module, don't forget, to be able to do something like this, which is under the setup menu. Okay, next trend. Let's just go here. Is distribution, publication and distribution. So when you're using Sage Intelligence, you're going to have this add-on here called BI Tools. And some people don't even really know what this is for. I've connected to so many people that use Sage Intelligence, and I'll say, hey, are you using your BI Tools distribution? And they'll say, I don't even know what that is. So it's here. If everything, well, let me preface this. If it's installed properly, it's here. A lot of times we get calls saying my BI tools is missing. We have to go behind the scenes and do a couple tweaks and then we have it. But in any case, if you have a good install, you have BI tools here. Now, what is it? Ability to publish your reports or email them. So we're going to go into, first of all, distribution settings. You could set up your email profile in here. This I'm using Exchange. Then you come in and you manage your instructions. So I have one here. Just edit it. These are the 3 choices I have. So what am I doing? I am emailing myself, CCing myself at another email address, and I'm saying, hey, this is my trend report. What's this? It's a cell reference. So I'm saying that the subject is going to say trend report July 2024 to June 2025. If I change the month, it's going to change the subject, which is great, dynamic. And then I'll say attached, you'll find the income statement, whatever, for the same time frame. I'll give it a file name. You can save it as Excel, PDF, MHT, and you also can convert each worksheet to a static value. This was not always the case, like way back when this product came out, they didn't have this feature. But if you're sending this to somebody who doesn't even know what Sage Intelligence is or use it, you need the formulas to be converted to values because it's not going to work. So this is a way to convert all your formulas to values when you send somebody a report and publish it. And that way they're going to be able to read it. So next is distribute each worksheet as separate documents. Perhaps I have several tabs on here and I wanted them to be distributed separately. So this is the way you can email. File publish. Where do you want to save it? What do you want it to be called? What's the format you want it in? And then same thing. Or FTP. Now what's really cool is you can set this all up, which I did, and have many of them. So I can have instructions for different reports because they're different people or different folders I want to save in. So I could have many different instructions in here. And then when I come into my report, I can just select the instructions that I need and what worksheet to send. I definitely don't want sheet 4. There's not much on there. I click the trend report. And then let me just note this. There is a button here to send all distribution instructions when this workbook is automatically scheduled using the scheduler command. We're going to talk about using Windows Task Scheduler to schedule these reports as well. If this box is checked, it's going to come in and it's going to use the selected instructions when it distributes those reports using Windows Task Scheduler, which is pretty cool. So now that I've selected my instructions, I come in here, I say send now, and it just flashes there, but it's what it's doing is it's sending me the email. And once it comes in, I'll show you guys what it looks like. That's a good sound I heard. And here it is here. So here's my subject, trend report, July, whatever, June 2025. Here is the report here. All these formulas are converted to values, which is nice. And there we go. So it's pretty cool feature. So let's go back to Report Manager. I just want to show you something else. When I have a report on the Properties tab and I click Show Advanced, you'll see down here, Generate Output File. So you can put in a path here with a file name and like an Excel extension that you, every time this report is run, you want it to generate a file. Now, how do you do that? You have to do that using Windows Task Scheduler. You right click on the report up here and you can generate the scheduler command. It gives you all this nice scheduling command. You click OK. this puts it on the clipboard, and then you go into Windows Task Scheduler and you can schedule it, but you have to paste the scheduling command in there. So I have used this a bunch of times this year for different people, and it seems to work quite well. I have some going as PDFs, some going as Excel files. And what's cool about it is the output file, you can actually like use your at year at or at prior year at, you know, those type of naming conventions. So when the report runs out, it's named, you know, July, August, September, you know, whatever you're in. So just a great way to manage the whole distribution in Sage Intelligence. I think it does a pretty good job. I do want to bring up that there is this great document. Hopefully I can drag it over here. We have this great Sage Intelligence distribution document. Here it is. Doesn't want to come, but here it is. That I could send you. So it gives you all the information we just went over. And this is all you need. If you want to learn how to set up distribution and start using these things, you certainly can. You know, one thing that's cool that's in here that I didn't realize is that you can come into your manage, edit. So it says that you can put, instead of my email address in here, I can put a formula in my report and say, hey, if the sales are greater than $500,000, for example, put this email address. If not, put blank, a blank cell. So, and then I can reference that cell in here for that formula. So it's sort of like a threshold way to distribute your reports. So I can select the instructions, but guess what? It's not going to send if I have $300,000 in sales, which is really cool. It'll only send to that person if I have $500,000 in sales. So that's something I learned recently. Just thought I'd share it with you. All right. So I see there's a lot of questions on Sage Intelligence. I think I'd like to address those now, only because I'm going to be going into Sage Data and Analytics. Is that okay, Kelly?
That sounds great to me. Do you want me to read them out loud to you there, Dana?
Sure, that'd be awesome.
All right. Sage Intelligence for GL looks a lot like F9. Did Sage buy functionality from them they're now in for?
So yes, it does look like F9, but Sage Intelligence stemmed from a product called FRX, not F9. But yes, it's a similar type thing, especially because watch what I'm doing here. I can right click on a cell and drill down into any type of balance. And I know you can do that with F9. There's drill down features and so forth. But yes, it's similar, but it did not stem from there. It stemmed from FRX.
All right. Would you clarify what is dumped by Sage into Excel versus what you or we need to create?
Sure. So let's see. It depends what kind of report you're creating. If you're using a canned report, like a financial canned report, like a financial report designer, what you're going to get dumped in there is all of the, let's go into my trend again, all of these. So it's called the report designer add-in. Anytime you create a new report for financials, the GL, this is what gets dumped in there. Now, as far as you creating, you're going to have to create formulas on your own to pull in that information with Sage Intelligence. Now, that's just the GL. The GL is nice. It dumps this data in there for you automatically. If you're talking about dumping data for other modules, that's a little bit more complicated. And that is using, you know, what I said was called the connector module. And you actually have to pick what you want dumped into Excel. So we have this ODBC driver, auto connect, and then look at all this. I have to pick my table. And within that table, I have to pick all the columns that I want, all the data that I want to be dumped into Excel. So it just depends whether it's a GL report or a report from another module, as far as what data gets dumped in there and what you have to create on your own. I hope that answers that question.
All right, can you update an existing Excel file with new data, or does it need to create fresh each set of parameters?
Yeah, so that is a disadvantage. Once you run the report out, like this dashboard here, I can't hit a refresh. I could hit data refresh. However, that's just going to refresh my formulas, not the data from Sage 100. So yes, unfortunately, you have to, if I wanted to run this report as of now, because I ran this report like an hour ago, I'd have to run it, go back into Report Manager and run it again.
With Sage subscription, the 100C product, what licenses do you get for free?
It doesn't matter if it's premium, advanced, or standard, you get one free Report Manager license, and I'm going to recap all that a little later.
Perfect. All right, that takes care of the questions.
All right, cool. So we're going to jump back into here and switch gears a little bit. I'm also going to present to you another product for a report writer, and it's called Sage Data and Analytics. So where does this product stem from? It was created, and the foundation is really based on understanding your challenges. So for example, the pandemic, there were so many different challenges, unique ones to many businesses, and you may have reporting needs that are different now. We did have like an example of a company that we were creating Sage data and analytic reports for, and they said, look, we don't even want to see 2020. It was just not what we expected, and it's not a good indicator to compare to other years. So it's things like that. So understanding your challenges, the time and cost of generating the reports can be cumbersome and take hours. This is a reporting tool. It's really going to manage that quite well. The cohesive insights, the understanding of numbers, the dashboards, all these types of solutions, they're available here, you know, to combat your challenges with that. You have a way to look at the data in a snapshot. You can change parameters, and they do a super job of understanding that as well. Making important business decisions in a timely manner, being better connected to your internal and external customers anywhere, anytime, on any device. That is like so key for this product. It's on the cloud. I can go to Florida. I can look at my information there. I could be sitting at a hair salon and look at it on my phone. I mean, it's just anywhere. It's just wonderful. Also the inefficient workflow about importing financial and operations data from various branches, virtual teams. You know, you have employees working from all over the place. This is gonna be a great solution if that is the case. And then, you know, KPIs that require information from other systems, not just Sage 100, you can pull that in when you're using Sage Data and Analytics. So these are just certain challenges that they found have been popular, and this is why the product was conceived. So Sage Data Analytics, one solution for the Sage ERP family. So over on the right, I have my Sage 100. I am pulling in all these data containers in here into a model, and then I'm reporting off of it. Not only that, I can use Sage CRM, other ERPs, perhaps. I used that Sage 50 example earlier. Maybe I want to bring in Sage 50 history and compare it with my Sage 100 data, because now I'm on Sage 100, and it's not really recommended to bring in history into Sage 100. When you go live, it's just too many data tables, too many imports, and too many complications that can happen with them. However, you can connect to your Sage 50 using Sage Data Analytics and merge the two tables together and map it out, and you can get reporting based off of that. So it's on the data front, you can connect very intelligently to Sage 100 or other ERPs via the cloud. And it's focused on optimizing your reporting and analytics. So we have hundreds of pre-built content in all these different modules and key areas and AP, AR, and so forth. So you're going to see so many different formulas that already come pre-packaged with this system. And they're there to be used over and over again. It's not like you have to create it every time you create a report, which is amazing. And then you're going to grow, you're going to expand. This product is scalable to those needs. It's going to give you a profound starting point, but it's also going to grow with you. So what sets Sage Data and Analytics apart? We have automated data management. So you may have seen other BI tools in the market, but this one makes it quicker and simpler to collect, integrate, secure, and prepare for data analysis. We have robust out-of-the-box calculations, and you're going to see some of that. We have the ability to get you live in hours. This one here, I was personally impressed with. I have had implementations for these types of products where it just was a bear just to get it to go live. This product here has maybe, I don't know, 1 or 2 prerequisites, and it has what they call a data gateway that you have to install, and you point it to your Sage 100 data, and you're live. And what's great, not only are you live, but it's on the cloud, so you're live from anywhere, really. And also, it has pre-built reports right out of the box that can be used right away. So I'm not spending a lot of time trying to get simple reports created. They're already there. When you move from other ERPs, you can migrate your data and reports seamlessly. I think I talked about that, from the Sage 50 scenario. And then it plugs directly into the Sage 100 database. It makes it easy for you to pull up to-date data when you need it. There's refreshing overnight, or it could be manually refreshed. You can set schedules to be manually refreshed to show updates in near real time. Just an example of all the different calculations that can come with the program. This is just a very, very small snapshot. There are so many out there, but just giving you a snapshot. So we have, order fill rates, full delivery percentages, late delivery, financial calculations, gross margin, return on assets, return on equity, just to name a few. And like I said, many, many more with the program. All right, so let's get into it. Let's show you what this Sage Data and Analytics is all about. Here's our VBCC Sage Data and Analytics, and I want to preface this by saying I'm using demo data, and I don't really have a lot of prior year information in here, which you'll see some of these fields don't populate because I don't have a lot of transactions, but I don't think it's going to hinder what you're going to see today. I think you're really going to see what it's all about and what it could do. So it's a web page. When you first sign up, you're going to invite people. They're going to get an email that says, hey, welcome to Sage Data and Analytics. Please click here, sign in, get a password, and you're in. You can be a designer, which I am. You could be a consumer, which is just viewing reports and so forth. And the system will know that when you log in and show you the appropriate reports and so forth that come with the security and so forth. So I have this menu on here and my Sage 100 solution. And I just want to tell you that I haven't really customized anything in here. So anything that you see in here is right out of the box. And right out of the box, you get finance, inventory, procurement, and sales. Within these folders, there's always going to be a executive type dashboard or some sort of dashboard that summarizes the information for that particular topic. So in the finance section, for example, under the general ledger, I have the chief financial officer dashboard. Under AP, I have the accounts payable manager dashboard. Under AR, I have the AR manager dashboard. So this is all that all came with the system. I did not touch this. If I click on the chief financial dashboard, it populates based on my Sage 100 data. So it can be customized, of course. It can be, for example, if I did not like this particular graph down here on the right, I could swap it out with something else. But right out of the box, you get this kind of stuff. So these are particular dashboards. What's cool is that, like, if you wanted to know more information, like you could come in here and say, oh, you know what, my expenses are this, that. I need to look at them further. You could open up a linked resource, they call it, and it pulls up another dashboard to fully understand what those expenses are all about. So easy to do that. I can link different types of resources on here. I can move things around. I have my slicers up here. Maybe I have different companies. I could change the dates, which changes the data, all that good stuff. And it's live immediately. Now we have the built-in smart navigation. So it will know based on whatever's chosen up here to change the reports down below. Now, if I wanted to go into, and as you can see, I have the dashboard open here and it has this little orange button. That is if I made a change and I wanted to save it. Now I can do so. I could save it as another name. I can put it in a different folder. I can do all that good stuff. So I'm just gonna discard this for now because I want to get through some of this other stuff on here. Let's go into the aging accounts payable. This is what I meant about my demo data. I have all current receivables, so it's not the greatest to demo data, but as you can see, here's my aging report. Now, if I wanted to learn more about this number here, I can double click on it and it'll drill down. This is a lot of information. Some of it may not be useful to you. You can customize your drill downs to add something in here or remove these columns, but this is all customizable. So similarly, I have other dashboards in here. If I went to my procurement and I went to my purchases manager dashboard, you could see more cool information. All these calculations are behind the scenes and saved, so you can use them over and over again. You know, I have my top 10 vendor spending, the top 5 storage locations, which are warehouses, and then the cool graphs that you can use. You can use heat maps, they call them, to highlight certain information, certain colors, and you know, put in whatever slicers that you want in here. This one here has particular vendor groups, particular warehouses I can filter on and so forth. So the information, let's just go into that, is coming from what we call the Sage 100 data model. And I'm clicking on the Sage 100 solution. I just want to show you this in here because behind the scenes, everything is pulling from all of our Sage 100 tables. If it has this little cylinder in here, that means that Sage Data and Analytics is using that as a pipeline. Just because it doesn't have a cylinder doesn't mean we can't pull it in. So we have the ability, if you don't see the tables, like I just did one for the RMA module, and that is not turned on right away for Sage Data and Analytics, so that was not a problem. Just come in here and you turn it on and it pulls in the data for the RMA module, and then you could start using the fields and doing charts and tables and all that good stuff. So this is your Sage 100 data that comes in. Even though the data may not be there when you come in here for certain things, not to worry. It is there behind the scenes. We just have to bring it in. And when we bring it in, it's called a pipeline. And these are all the pipelines that come with the system. We have account types, we have APM open invoices, AR open invoices, customers, customer types, groups, all that good stuff. So I don't want to get too down the rabbit hole with this behind the scenes stuff, but that's where it all comes from. Now, if I wanted to create just a quick ad hoc report, I come in here, I could do a chart, a table, a dashboard, a detail report. Let's just do a quick table here. We talked about the pipelines that come in and so forth. Underneath, over here on the right, we have what we call measures, which are the measures that are used on these types of reports. I have AP, AR, inventory, purchases, all this good stuff. For this example, let's pull in sales invoice lines. So this is on the lines page of a sales invoice. These are all the calculations that I can bring into a report. If I do not see something in here, that doesn't mean I can't add it. So for example, the invoice line amount, I'm going to drag over here into my columns, and it's going to pull in the invoice line amount. Now, those are my measures. Now I come down here and I say, well, what type of attributes do I want to put on this report? So I can come in here and I can say, oh, item groups. They call product lines item groups. I'll just put this on a row. And you'll see my different product lines and then the invoice amount here, which is great. Then I could take it a step further and say, oh, well, I want to do customer as well. So I just drag the customer up here. And here's my product lines, my customer, my invoice line amount, which looks great. Take it a step further. I need to put a date type of parameter on here. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to pull in my fiscal year, month, fiscal year, quarter, month, day. And to do that, I'm going to come in here and put the slices here. Oh, that's the wrong one. I want it to pull in the month and the day. So come in here and do this one. So now at the top, I have the month and the year. I was saying day, but I meant year. And I'm able to use that slicer and just pick the month that I am interested in, and it changes the data seamlessly. Now, I have the data for May. Oh, one thing I wanted to point out is, see how it goes from the most current on the bottom. When you have, my data is not, doesn't have a lot of dates, but yours does. So you just come in here and do set reverse. So you get the most current month at the top. There we go. The most current month at the top to be able to use in the drop down. So just a quick tidbit on that. Now, this is great. It's my May invoice amount, but let's just say we want to add the period in the column. So in order to do that, I go to time functions, context period, and put that in there. And now I can actually see, oh, that's May. And then if I drop it down to April, which I don't have much data for, but you can see now it's April. So that's just a cool way to show what month that it's looking at. And then I could say, oh, wait, I just want to put in the period from last month. So I'm putting in another context period. Now it's May, but I'm going to change this to last month. So I'm going to what we call a time function, period to date totals, prior month to date. And here it is here. I only have a couple, but I need this to say April. I want it to dynamically change every time I'm changing the slicer. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to set my slicer to oh, here it is, slicer type to time context. That's the first step. The second step, I'm going to make a custom formula, and I'm going to put in my hierarchy here. I'm going to pull in my context period in here. For the caption, but I want it to be the parallel period for last month. And if I did everything right, oh, I have one more step. They have these wildcard @ signs that you could put in here, which will change every time the month changes. So here is March versus February. Let's go back to May because it looks a little nicer. May, April, and things like that. So with the click of a button, not a button, but a couple different buttons, we can make a quick report here of my sales, product line, customer. I can add totals. I could filter empty columns. Add a total right down here. It's just very easy to use. I could come in and create a chart real quick from this information. But before I do that, let's just remove this. Make it a little simpler. And come in here and turn on a chart. And it'll graph it for me. And then I can maybe do different type of charts. I'm looking for a chart type. There it is. And I could come in here and look at all these different chart types that you have that you can use. So you can change that as well. So this is how we create report requests. So we've had a few different clients who have implemented this product, and then they give us their report requests, and this is what we do. We come in and we just start building it up, and then we save it, and it's able to be used from there on in. We can put it on the dashboard. We can customize it even further. We can copy it into another report and then customize it even further for a different report request. It just has a lot of flexibility. Now, as far as distribution and so forth, they have this cool, what they call publication rule. And you come in here and you say, okay, I'm gonna send this to Dana. And I'm gonna put in the subject. And then like, I can just grab a resource. Let's say I wanted the income statement, which is under statements, profit and loss statement. I just drag it in here. And it's going to use that as the attachment. And then I could come in here and put in, you know, this is the income statement for whatever. And then down here is really cool because you can put in thresholds in here. And then you could put in what we call an event. An event is under more. Going to be a scheduled event. So I can set up schedules. I could come in here and say, okay, every morning at 9 o'clock, every day, I want this particular report to run. So I would save this event. I would come over here and drag it in here so it knows to send this every day at 9 a.m. And then once this is all said and done, I hit publish and it emails the report. So it's a little bit more sophisticated than Sage Intelligence, a little bit more intelligent, easier to use a little bit because it's not involving Windows Task Scheduler or anything like that. The other area I want to show real quick is what they call a report pack. This is super cool because I can drag in a ton of different reports in here and just create my report pack. So, you know, this in here, and this in here. And you see now I have 2 reports. I could just keep it going in here. And then it's what they call a report pack, and then you can put in text, which means it's specific to this report pack. Perhaps it's an annual report. You want to give a summary about how the company did this year. You can add what they call rich text, which is really just a free-form field here that you can save, and you can add it into that report pack. So it includes that in your set of reports. So a lot of different cool things that you can do. The like I said, you're live within hours earlier, and there's so many good out of the box reports that already come with this, that there's not much that you will not see right away. There is one area that you do have to map your chart of accounts to get the financials working up and running the way you'd like them. But it is a very quick and easy way to do that. They offer an Excel spreadsheet where you do the mapping and so forth. So really cool product. It's on the cloud, and I think that's the biggest seller of them all. But very intelligent, has built-in intelligence that you're going to notice is really great. So let's go back here to the 2 products, comparing them up. And I'm going to tell you that the anywhere, anytime access is primarily Sage Data and Analytics. They do take the cake there. As far as real-time data, Sage Intelligence is at the time that the report is run, and Sage Data and Analytics is real-time. You do have to refresh the data, and you can do incremental refreshes and things like that, but it is scheduled. It's not something that you need to manually do, although you can manually do it. As far as connecting multiple data sources, you can do that with Sage Intelligence in the connector module, and Sage Data and Analytics, you can do that too. There's many different connectors that you can connect to with Sage Data and Analytics. In fact, I thought I wanted to show you that. Let's go back in here, and this is pretty cool for you to see. So if I wanted to add a new data source in here, look at all the choices that they have. They have a bunch of ERPs in here, a bunch of SQL stuff, ODBC, all this stuff. So you can connect all these different data sources in Sage Data and Analytics as well. Continuing on, distribution, we saw this, yes, for Sage Intelligence, yes, for Sage Data and Analytics. They can do auto scheduling, report packs, and thresholds, Excel, PDF, and HTML for the export, which is cool. The security in Sage Intelligence is only at the report level. For Sage Data and Analytics, I didn't go over this too much, but you can have roles, you can have users and groups, you can limit viewing reports based on the report itself or based on the group. There's a lot of different ways you could set up security. Scalable with business growth. So, you know, I've run into some Excel limitations with data in Sage Intelligence. That's why I tried to stress to use filters and things like that. But definitely Sage Data and Analytics is scalable. Slice, dice, drill down. Yes, you can do that with both. Dynamic visualization charts, data, maps. Graphs are not dynamic in Excel. That's a limitation, but yes, you do get all those with Sage Data and Analytics. So here's the packaging for Sage Data and Analytics. They have 3 tiers: standard, advanced, and premium. Standard tier is pretty basic. It is entry level, as they say. You only have the ability to connect to GL, AR, and AP modules, and that's it. And there's less space, there's less consumers, less companies, and the price for that is $3,108. Now, when I show you the price for this, it includes the price of the software as well as the hosting price. and it's paid to Sage on an annual basis. Continuing on, this Advanced is probably the most popular choice out of the three. You get 10 consumers. You get the ability to go and connect to all modules, which is definitely a must. And you have the ability to get these extras. You know, if you wanted to add more consumers, more data source connections, and so forth, you can do that. And the price for that is $5,500. You get 5 companies here, by the way. And then the premium, this is the more robust choice. You have unlimited companies, 5 connections. And when I say connections, I mean connecting to those data sources I showed you a little while ago. If you had to connect to those outside data sources, you can connect to 5 with premium, but you can add on data sources if you wanted to, if those 5 didn't satisfy. So what's the price for this one? $9,500. So 3 different packaging tiers. You can have extras added on if one didn't fit your needs entirely. And, you know, as far as implementation goes, you know, I said it's pretty easy to implement, but when it comes to, you know, support and customizations and things like that, you would work with us at Rollup Computer Consulting. The second level is Sage, and the third level is our publisher, Zap. Zap, Z-A-P, is the publisher of this software package, and they are the experts as far as how the data is managed and things like that. So for the first implementation or second implementation, we have been partnering with Zap, and they have provided some great support to us and our clients to get these report requests going, and it's been very successful so far. All right, so in order to learn more about those 3 tiers, just ask me for a copy of these, what we call ebooks for standard, advanced, and premium. I can shoot you an email with a copy of that as well. So back to Sage Intelligence. We talked about SDMA pricing. What about Sage Intelligence? So the report manager gives you the ability to customize existing reports, create new reports. They do give you 1 free license, and you can add additional report managers for $680. The report viewer is the ability to view reports, drill down on a per user license basis. That is $137. It is not free with the purchase of Sage. You do have to purchase that separately. Then the report designer is a site license that is automatically comes automatically with the subscription. The connector is the ability to multi-connect to many different companies, many different databases and things like that. The price for that is you can add that on for $408. License manager and security, that comes with the subscription as well. So I know that's a lot of information, but we are at the point for questions right now. If there's any, I'd be happy to address.
All right, we're going to go back to Sage Intelligence for a minute here. Is there a limit to the number of Rollup codes per account in the event I want to use an account differently on 4 different reports?
So you can have 4 Rollup codes per account.
All right. We are using job ops for job costing. Would Sage Intelligence pull data from job ops using the connector module?
Absolutely, yes.
You're very fast. Is there a demo or a sandbox version of Sage Data and Analytics available to experiment with before subscribing to the service?
I would have to ask. Unfortunately, I don't think so, but I would be happy to ask.
Excellent. And then, let's see, I had a couple more. Can my Sage Intelligence reports dashboards be converted to Sage Data and Analytics?
Yeah, that's a great question. They are 2 separate products. So even though you have Sage Intelligence and you want to maybe add on Sage Data and Analytics, it's a separate purchase. your Sage Intelligence, is going to remain intact, and you could still use that even though you're purchasing Sage Data and Analytics, but they are two separate products.
What versions of Sage 100 does Sage Data and Analytics work with?
So we always recommend the current version and 2 versions back, and Sage Data and Analytics follows that same policy. So we're on 2021, so we can go 2020 or 2019 with Sage Data and Analytics. That's what we recommend. It's not that it wouldn't work with 2018, but it's not supported anymore, and it's probably best if we get you up to a supported version.
And can you run Sage Data and Analytics on your own server?
Not at this time. They do not offer that. It is a 100% cloud-based product. And not to say that they wouldn't offer that at some point in the future, but great question.
Can I transfer my Sage Intelligence licenses to Sage Data and Analytics instead of purchasing more Sage DNA consumers?
Yeah, separate product, separate licensing. So no, they're not transferable from one product to the next.
All right, for Sage Data and Analytics, does connecting to an Excel resource count towards a connection?
Oh yeah, so those data resources that I showed you, those data connections that I showed you here, they are what we consider a data source on the tier pricing, but it excludes Excel workbooks as a data connection. So when you're looking at tier pricing and you're trying to figure out, geez, how many data connections do I need? You don't need to count Excel. It's just included in the regular pricing.
Okay, that seems to be all the questions, Dana.
Okay, great. So I do want to mention that we have another session for Sage Data and Analytics tomorrow on our track 4, presented by ZAP. So if you want to learn more, and they really are the experts at this program, they're going to probably show you so many cool things and have resources as far as demo data and things like that. So I highly encourage you attending from 3 to 4 Central tomorrow if you'd like to learn more about that.
Thank you. And if that is everything, I'd like to thank Dana for walking us through Sage Intelligence and Sage Data and Analytics today. A huge thank you also to our attendees. Really, we couldn't do this without you, and we hope that you really enjoyed everything you learned today. Lastly, this conference could not be possible without our valued business partners. And as Dana mentioned, Data and Analytics has another session tomorrow at 3. So take a peek at that, not too late to register, on our website, v-bcc.com. And with that, thank you all very much, and you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for joining, everyone.